Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another instant deck tech. So today, the story behind this one is kind of unique. I wanted to do a couple deck techs featuring cards that were reprinted in Conspiracy. And for Modern, one of the cards I came across was Kami of the Crescent Moon. So this deck is a legit Modern deck. However, I should warn you, it is from a couple of years ago. So this is Howling Mine. It took Brian Freshlop to a 5-0 finish in a Magic Online daily event, so it's not super current, but this deck is completely legal. Nothing has been banned, so you can pick it up and play it in Modern right now as it is if you're looking for a way to use your brand new shiny Kami of the Crescent Moon from your Conspiracy box. Anyway, a quick reminder before we break it down: if you enjoyed this deck and want to see it made into videos, take a minute, click the like button, the subscribe button, leave a comment, anything you can do to support your deck, because whichever deck is most popular gets a shot at being made into videos next week. So Howling Mine is built around Ebony Owl Netsuke, which is this weird 2-mana artifact that says at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, if that player has 7 or more cards in hand, Ebony Owl Netsuke deals 4 damage to him or her. So as weird as it sounds, the idea of this deck is to play 1 or more Ebony Owl Netsukes, and then make sure your opponent's hand is full of cards so you can kill them with the damage from it. As a backup plan, you get Sudden Impact, a 4-mana instant that deals damage to a player equal to the number of cards in that player's hand. So if they got at least 7 cards to trigger the Ebony Owl Netsuke, you're going to deal 7 damage, and you could get up to even more cards than that. So where does Kami of the Crescent Moon come in? Well, the idea is to power up your Ebony Owl Netsukes and power up your sudden impacts. You play a whole bunch of Howling Mine effects. So Kami of the Crescent Moon is a Howling Mine on a body, 2 mana 1/3, and at the beginning of each player's draw step, they draw an extra card. That is literally Howling Mine, which is an artifact that has the exact same wording, and then you also get Temple Bell, 3-mana artifact that you can tap to make each player draw a card. So not only are you forcing your opponent to draw cards to deal damage to them with your Ebony Owl Netsukes and your sudden impacts, this also makes sure that your hand is full of cards, and then the deck gets even crazier. So this deck can be pretty punishing, because not only are you making your opponent draw to make sure their hand is full, you're also returning their stuff to their hand, which obviously means even more cards in hand. Plus, these cards, Boomerang and Eye of Nowhere, essentially the same except Boomerang's an instant, Eye of Nowhere is a sorcery that's also arcane, but these cards can hit a land on turn 2, so you basically want to chain these together starting on turn 2 and kind of sinkhole your opponent. Yes, you're not really killing the land, but returning it to your opponent's hand is almost as good as killing it, especially when you can follow it up turn after turn by another Boomerang, another Eye of Nowhere. So in theory, if you draw enough of these, you can just keep your opponent on 1 or 2 lands for the entire game, while you're slowly draining them out, or not so slowly, with Ebony Owl Netsuke and Sudden Impact. And then you have some more ways to kind of time walk your opponent. If your opponent only has a couple lands, remanding one of their spells is likely going to take their entire turn. Plus, you get to draw another card, and that's another card in your opponent's hand. So in some ways, remand is even better than a literal counter spell, because it's keeping more cards in your opponent's hand to trigger your owls and your sudden impacts. Exhaustion is basically just a time walk. You cast it, makes all your opponent's creatures and lands not on tap, so they're probably not going to do anything on their next turn because of the exhaustion. Speaking of time warps, we also have real time warps. Just take another turn after this one. So once things get going, you can cast your exhaustion, keep your opponent tapped out, cast your time warp, take another turn, draws you more cards, finds your sudden impacts, finds more card draw so you can win the game. Plus, if you want to go really deep, you can even twin cast your time warp to take double extra turns. And then the last non-land main deck card is a place that has Simian Spirit Guides, just to help you speed up the process a bit. As far as the mana base, really straightforward. 4 Scalding Tarns, 2 Steam Vents, and a bunch of islands. In the sideboard, Yep, we are a red-blue deck, and we are playing a bunch of green and white sideboard cards. So a Chothasam Worm is a 9/14 with Trample and Convoke for a massive 15 mana. Our deck is never going to cast this in a million years, but our deck draws a lot of cards, so we will probably draw into the Worm eventually, and hopefully we will also draw into a Nourishing Shoal. And then we can use a Nourishing Shoal to exile the Worm and gain 15 life for only 2 mana at instant speed. So it's basically this like super fog to keep us alive while we're drawing cards and setting up the kill with our sudden impacts and our owls. And then we have 3 Blood Moons, which our deck is perfectly set up to abuse since we have 12 basic islands and ways to fetch them out. And then Hibernations to deal primarily with green creatures, but it deals with all green permanents. So if you're worried about Tarmogoyfs and things like that, an instant speed way to bounce all of them. So that is Howling Mine for Modern. This deck is super crazy, super unique. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you soon.